Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is James Lawrence, Specialist of Army National Guard. James, it's a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you for finding me. This is nice.
Sure. Okay, I want to ask you a few questions. First, tell us a little bit about yourself. What caused you to be in the Army, things like that.
I wanted to be a soldier since I was like 9 years old. Like I was always one of those kids in the backyard with the neighborhood friends playing Army, and then it just kind of followed me into adult life, and now I'm here.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that dream and that aspiration.
Yeah.
It did work out. Yeah.
It just came to life.
Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I heard a lot of stories like that. People, young men who couldn't really find their way. They got into the Army and they turned out very well for themselves, end up having a family, making use of their life. I think the Army is a good navigating compass to young men, nourishing them with stability and purpose. And I think that every young man who into clear about what direction he wants to go in life should get himself involved, whether it's in the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, whichever choice they choose to. Yeah, so I want to ask you some questions this morning. Beside, the Army life is good. You're sworn to protect your country from enemies, foreign and domestic, and so forth, and that's beautiful. I don't want to pull you into politics or the political nature of anything such as that, but I want to just ask some general questions, and you answer it as smartly and intelligently as you wish to. One question I want to ask is that military service men and women, they all have families here at home, their families. And recently, they were thought now to go into cities to man the position that police used to take care of, because it appears that police are not competent enough to do what they're supposed to do. I'm not going to call any names or anything like that. Do you believe that it could be annoying to even family members and the servicemen alike to be walking the streets, patrolling the streets with military appearance, with guns and so forth, even though harmless at that point? The psychological impact of freedom is now damaged. What you think family members would then look at their own family members who's supposed to be representing them, now bring a fear over them? How do you perceive that?
Usually it starts with a family support for the military. Like usually like you're when you're a 17, 19-year-old kid, like you're just like, I think I might want to join the military. And then, like that support from the beginning is a huge get-go. So, you start from like day one, like you talk to your families as often as possible. You let them know as much as possible when you're always safe and what can't be told that you're doing. And I'm hoping that the service members' families are very supportive because, they chose a job to, like you said, defend the country. And sometimes that's just multiple avenues that you never even think of when you're starting to join. So even when you have to do things that you never thought you'd have to do, as long as your family knows what you're doing and why you're doing it for, I'm hoping that their support network is what helps keep you going during these difficult times as a soldier, whether you're in the United States or outside the United States.
I agree absolutely. That concept of swearing to defend your country from both enemies, foreign and domestic, is very important. But I'm speaking here on a situation where the folks that you are patrolling among are not enemies of the country. They are not enemies of the state. The governor of the state was overridden by federal law, and then the implementing of armed forces was placed in the street to bring about some form of fear more than anything, because we can't tell at this moment. I haven't heard of any cases where there was clashes in the street between military personnel and the citizens of this country. I haven't heard of any such thing. Therefore, what's the purpose of having them there? Is it a psychological atmosphere of the declaration of martial law in your country to resonate that source of fear into people's mind?
I would like to hope that it gives the people more sense of safety and protection, because none of us are there to, rule with martial law. That's not our intent. Our intent is simply just support the problems at hand, whatever that may be. Like you just said, like none of us are out there to kick in doors or go bother citizens who don't need to be bothered. We're not there for anyone who's not creating crimes or being criminal or committing acts in public. Our hope is just to give society a sense of security. I was involved with the Boston Marathon bombing. I just volunteered that day. I just thought it'd be a great day just to check out, families and runners and watch the parade, and everything just turned into an explosion where multiple people were hurt, they died, and while I was walking around and just being on my patrol following orders, random strangers just come up to me like, "Thank you for your service. Thank you that you're here. Thank God that you're here." And we're hoping that that sense of satisfaction and understandability would bring about public approval, because we're not there for anything negative. We're not there for your mom. We're not there for your dad. We're there just to support law enforcement in a capacity that helps keep the entire community safe.
Absolutely. I want to ask a question that's a little bit more broader than now here at home. And believe it, this interview is going to probably propel you to a different level altogether. So in the international waters of the Caribbean, there's an outburst of takedowns on fishermen on boats who probably there to make a living for themselves. And obviously there are also those who are trafficking drugs. But from in the air, you are flying a helicopter or some thing up there, and you can't really tell if the person is selling or trying to smuggle drugs or if they're actually fishing, but you suspect they're smuggling drugs. And you take out these people innocently who may very well not be innocent, or they could very well be innocent, but there's no questions asked. You can't communicate with them from in the air to the sea. There's no kind of radio connection or anything like that. Now, this week alone, or last week I think it was, and it speaks subject to correction, I think 14 folks were killed in the Caribbean waters, international waters in the Caribbean region, obviously. Now, if the drugs are not coming here to the United States, we can't assume that the United States of America is the final destination of these drugs, or to some other Caribbean country. If there were drugs, we have no evidence of that. But here are men out there trying to make a living for themselves. It could be one way or the other, but we don't have any physical proof whether they're actually fishing or smuggling drugs, but they're dead. Their families are left to survive. What approach or what right does the military have to open fire, and by whose order to open fire on such people?
I don't have a good answer to that. That's just way above me. I focus on the land. That's the naval and Coast Guard components. I have nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I wasn't
Absolutely
there.
not.
There could be just, things in the moment in that situation that we don't really know. And they're just, sometimes I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I wasn't there. You would hope for the best. Sometimes the worst happens, but that goes everywhere in life. I don't know the circumstances of the claim that you're talking about.
Absolutely not. I just brought out to you as a question to see where you will be at on that. Do you see this nation right now on the precipice of a civil war? And I want to be straight up with you in answering this question, because over the past year, a lot of things were implemented in the nation, and a lot of folks were deprived of their legal rights. They were deprived, even now recently, even the wages for working as federal workers. Working, nation shut down. They're not getting paid, but they have to go to work.
Yep.
Food stamps now getting erased. So there are thousands of or millions of Americans who depend solely on food stamps, can't feed their kids and families. And God knows if some of those families are even members of the same military. We don't know, right? It doesn't state whether you're a Democrat, a liberal, independent, whatever you want, conservative. It doesn't state that. There are all types of people on food stamps, and that's the basic need for humanity. And do you think politics today is shaping the shift of how this nation move from one level to the next? Are we going to be in a phase still of democracy or dictatorship?
How do I put that? I'm hoping
take your time.
I'm hoping there's not a civil war. I don't think anyone really wants that. I'm hoping it's just this fear amongst everybody that, oh, what's going to happen? Could this be this? I mean, I certainly don't want to go out there and start a civil war. You know, anyone who like believes in America and believes in the system, like I can't imagine anybody want a civil war, because we've already had one, and now we are, and we've learned from it, hopefully, as a nation, and we're just continuing to prosper on a civil level. For the politics, I'm not sure. I myself am a government employee, and I'm hoping that this conflict does get resolved. But whether it's the military or my civilian job, I'm more than happy to serve the people of this country. I serve in many vast capacities, and you know, it's very humbling just to be able to know that I'm in a capacity where I help, you know, a lot of people, and I do everything I can for them to the best of my abilities. And I never am upset about going to work every day, you know, because I'm helping people that need help themselves.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a little bit about your position as a specialist in the Army, but before I get there, I want to also ask you this. I don't know if you actually saw it coming or actually have a knowledge of what's going on. There are certain groups of diversity who are just in a turmoil position, mentally speaking. I heard one recently said that, and they were patrolling with whatever state they were, they have the right to carry firearms without any interruption with the police. And it was this group that confronted the Republicans in stating that they're not always going to be in power, because what happened, they feel that their rights were infringed on and they're not getting fair treatment in this country as citizens of this country. And they're clearly stating that when this president is over, life still goes on, and what is going to happen. I'm saying this because when there's an unrest in our society among diversity, we got major problems. When dictatorial elements are established within the foundation of democracy, it brings about conflict and it brings about turmoil, because it's like a paradoxical situation. It's going against what its founding principles were supposed to be. So you founded this nation on democracy, we want to establish democracy. But all of a sudden you are told what you can do, what you cannot do. You are seen or appearing to be no silence. That if you speak out certain things against certain people or call certain people names and is not within favor of them, that you are subject to be penalized, you are subject to be imprisoned, you are subject to be deported, you are subject to go to jail, you are subject to go to some other nation that you don't even know where is it, and you just go there, right? And we see citizens and non-citizens of this country and residents of this country, the legal and illegal, their workplaces are being encamped upon by ICE, and they're arresting everybody, both the legal and the illegal, and then they let them go who they can, and then they have no rights. They can't even go to court. When this atmosphere happens, it's a mental assault. It's a injustice form of an assault on a person who is a citizen of this country, who are doing their due diligence. Some of them even never broke the law in their life, but only to be arrested for 24 hours before getting let go for what? For nothing. So you are building up a structure resentment in the psyche of American people, and not only Democrats, as the Republicans would want to appear to be, but it's happening among Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, independents alike. Everybody, it doesn't matter. When this atmosphere happens or begins to continuously go on, we are structuring a nation to get involved in a civil war. Americans are smart, intellectual people, naturally. And Americans don't like to know when their freedoms are being taken away from them. And it brings about a rebellious atmosphere. So to govern that rebellious atmosphere is to start to inculcate this mental assault of military patrolling seats and the streets. We have ICE wearing the facial masks, no face is to be exposed. You are manhandling women and all. Think about it. You don't even get this now in the dictatorial world, right? And when this kind of atmosphere presents itself, you're walking down a street to chaos. And the funny thing is, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military. You got to obey what comes down to you. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, who's going to oppose him? That's the chief, right? So, with that said, what's your assessment on that?
You gave me a broad ideology. Can you give me a more specific question? I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So that's a mouthful. So just tell me a little bit about you as a specialist in the Army, what you do in more details and so forth, and the benefits of it.
What I do as a specialist, typically my job is a 12 November. I'm a horizontal construction engineer. So I do like bulldozers, excavators, operate equipment, like that's what I'm trained to do. But in the military, there's mass trainings or needs. Sometimes you're just in the right place in the right time, and you might have to be a firefighter, you might have to try to be a mechanic, you might have to be a tow truck driver. So being in the military just isn't one specific job. It can be a multitude of different things. In regards to me as a specialist, your question was for me as a specialist, what I'm dealing with if I'm encountering the public, if I'm out in uniform in the public. Is that your question?
Yeah, yes, how it impacts you, how can others benefit from it, or how would you advise other people to get involved in some specialty in the military, what it could do for them in the future and change their lives, etc.?
It can change your whole world, because it's paid education. It's, you get on the job training, you learn how to fix things from the inside out. Like me, I could just go, if I wanted to, I could go be a truck driver from this. If I wanted to, I could just go work at a construction site, get my licenses. I could take that anywhere I wanted to. Some people are medics in the military, and they go on to become EMTs or even paramedics or firefighters. You got the pilots that maybe might go commercial, and it all starts with the military. Like, you can pretty much, any job you want to do in the military, you can do in the civilian life as well.
Beautiful.
And the benefits are that is it impacts me because I get training, I get on-the-job experience that I can take onto my civilian world, And I also get educational benefits where if I want to expand my education, such as like the GI Bill, the post 9/11, where they cover fees and tuitions for any state school and things like that. And like, that's one of the main reasons why the younger soldiers join. It's, for education benefits that they can use while still being in the reserves or National Guard, or even if they're in the military full time, they might be able to take a few classes at night or remotely, things like that. So the military offers you great chances when you're a specialist or even a private to just, you have all these benefits thrown at you, and it's just up to you just to use them in a way that works for you.
What's the difference between a private and a specialist in the military?
It's just a ranking system. Like it's like a pay grade. You got E1, 2, 3, 4. A specialist of 4. Private can be a 1. Usually, it's how much time in the rank you've had, how long you've been a junior enlisted soldier for.
Okay. Where do you go from here? When you retire, are you planning to get politically involved, run for office? What's your aspirations? Because most of the military guys that get to a certain level, they either start seeing the Senate or Congress or even running for president. What's your purpose after this?
After this, I just want to retire and live a happy life. No, I'm not a political person myself. You ask me a lot of political ideas and concepts, and I'm like, man, I can't even help this guy. I apologize, but I'm doing the best I can.
Well, that's fine. So, in the Army, in the Army. Should a young man leave who just come out of high school, he want to go in the Army? What are some of the things he can start to look forward to do in terms of physical and mental fortitude? What are some of those requirements? Because there are a lot of weaklings who probably want to go in the Army when they recognize the training is really hard. They want to back out and so forth. What would you advise a young person to do who want to give their life into the military?
Look at something that you would want to do. So if like you want to grow up and be a police officer, you can go be a police officer in the Army and you get job training and all that experience. And if you realize, this just isn't for me, you can go do something else. What's another good one? Or if you want to do construction, you want to go work in a union, you can start at the Army, see, do I really want to do construction for the rest of my life? And if no, it's okay. You can do like 2 year, you can do 3 year, 4 year contracts. You can do 6 in the National Guard. But step one, just talk to a recruiter. Be like, hey, this is what I'm really interested in. Like, they have a wealth of knowledge. Okay. And of course, you can Google or YouTube. Like, that's really good. TikTok has a lot of soldiers' perceptions out there as well. And I'm sure almost anybody knows somebody in the military or was in the military. And absolutely, just reach out to them and be like, hey, what'd you think? What was great? What was terrible? Like, what'd you learn from it? Where are you now? How has it helped you? Like, all the questions you're asking me, you can ask any one of us in uniform or out of uniform, and we're more than happy to try to point you in the right direction.
Okay. Have you ever fought on the battlefield or any experiences like that?
I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2014.
Could you repeat that?
I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2014.
Okay. And how was that experience?
It's a mixed blessing. You just got to how do I put it? Do your best to make it work for you. Yeah, you're in a terrible position or you're in an unfortunate series of circumstances, but you're all there together. And like, that's where your real friendship bonds are created and that you have for life.
So there's like, among the soldiers and military personnel, it's like a family, so to speak. Each one look out for each other.
I would like to hope so, yeah. That's how it was when I deployed. Like, we're all very close. We knew everything. You're always together. You always know what's going to go on. You always help each other regardless.
Okay, well, we are about to wrap it here. And I'll give you the final words. If there's anything you would like to say to the public at large when it comes to the military and life in the military, you could give a brief summary on that.
Life in the military is what you make of it. You can have a wonderful time if you let yourself have a time. You can get all the educational benefits you need to prosper in an educational environment. I came back from Afghanistan. I got a second degree just because it was some of my benefits. I'm like, why not get a second degree? Absolutely. And the Army paid for it. It was great. Anyone who wants to join the military, ask. Like, no, there's no one out there that's going to not want to tell you that, oh, do this, do that. This is what absolutely didn't work for me. As opposed to society seeing at us. I hope they see us as, a positive light, that we're there for the right reasons to support the nation. I'm hoping that they're not afraid of us, that they don't want to turn away from us. Like, we're there to help. We're there in the supportive capacity. I would like to think that the public would hopefully see it that way.
Okay. Well, James Lawrence, Specialist, Army National Guard, I want to thank you for coming on this morning. It was quite enlightening. I'm sure there are some young folks out there who may want to get engaged in the military, will probably listen to this program and head in that direction. So thank you so much for coming on.
All right,
for all those who will be tuning in and living in the 21st century, have a great day.